I grew up in Victorville, California, and right between Victorville and Barstow lies a mountain range named Picanninny Buttes. For as long as I can remember, this is normal with a normal mountain range. You really don't think of the problematic name of these mountain ranges. In fact, the naming of mountain ranges after black stereotypes have been one of the ways America normalized racism through the years. Hey everybody, it's Sean Roselle back with another video. And if you like these type of videos, do me a favor, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell for further updates that I bring onto the channel. As far back as the early 1900s, when they would name mountain ranges, they would name them names as what they described. And naming them would attach the N-word to the description of what they saw, which was typically a forest that to white discoverers looked like the hair of a black man. Places like Dead Nigger Creek in West Texas, which was renamed to Dead Negro Draw. Pennsylvania with Nigger Hollow, which was renamed to Freedom Road. Temecula, California with Nigger Nate Grade Road, named after a freed slave, which was renamed to Nathan Harrison Grade Road. Outside of Kissimmee, Florida was a small town named Nigger Marsh, which was a site for freed slaves. It kept the town name up until 1990, in which the town name was removed from records. In 1962, due to pressure from the NAACP, a lot of the mountain ranges were changed from the N-word to Negro, and not all of them were found in 1962, and in time they were unearthed for discovery.
Park Service refused to acknowledge a name change of a lake in Washington state. Now, this story is pretty controversial considering what the previous name of the lake was, Coon Lake. All right, so state officials agreed to change the name of Coon Lake and Coon Creek after a Seattle man convinced them the designation was intended as a racial slur against Wilson Howard, who worked claims and lived in the area in the 1890s.
In 2011, Rick Perry came under fire for his hunting ground that was still called Head.
And about a campaign controversy centered on an ugly name out of Rick Perry's past. It is ugly and offensive. You'll only hear it once and not from us. It was the older name of the ranch that Governor Perry has hunted on over the years and that his father invested in back in 1980. The old name, as we said, is offensive. Perry's opponent, Herman Cain, was asked about it over the weekend after it surfaced in the Washington Post.
The name of the place was called Niggerhead. That is very insensitive.
As we look at reasons on what perpetuated racially driven issues in society, the casually naming of mountain ranges named after racial slurs helped create and normalize not just racism itself, but the normalization of using harmful racial slurs in everyday speech. Hey, so I wanted to come back and give you guys another tidbit. I know this one wasn't very long, but I do want to give you just another little nugget of information. I think a very big important key that we need to take in consideration this month and the next is to go out and vote. Is to vote, 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 vote. And you must understand how important that power is for you, for me, and the rest of the country. You have a power to change the world. So I want to encourage everybody to get out there and vote. Vote the right decision. Because once upon a time, blacks wasn't able to vote. And then when we had the vote, it was always stifled. Say, for example, there is a term that gets said quite often called grandfathering in or grandfathered in. Now, typically that means that they are exempt from a new rule since they were part of an old rule. So, for example, like let's say you have an old cell phone plan. That could be grandfathered in to have unlimited data without a change of rates. So that's pretty much when you hear that word, or at least for me, that's when I've heard that word. To go back in time, what that term actually meant was that the grandfather clause was an old southern state rule to prevent blacks from voting. What that really means is that there was so many documents and literacy tests for freed blacks, and this also applied to poor literate whites after the Civil War to go forward with the ability to vote. And because those literacy tests was designed to prevent people from voting or allowing people to vote, the rule was if their grandfather had the right to vote, then they too would have the right to vote. So if you had an illiterate white man that was at the polls, now if his grandfather had the right to vote, then that white man would automatically be able to have the right to vote alongside with him. But if a black man attempted to vote and his grandfather was ineligible to vote because he was a slave, then he himself would also be disqualified. And that was one of the big key components to keep blacks from voting. And this very notion continued all the way up until 1965 with the Voting Rights Act. So again, I implore each and every single one of you, make the right decision, change the world, go out and vote as if everything that rides on this world depends on it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys in the next video.